So we left the party off on a scene overlooking the burning of Ustav. Um, so now it's, I want to say, the following day. Tove, Narcellis, and Ari have decided they would go into town to try to get some supplies without bringing the entire party of currently wanted people. Because at least 3 is a little easier to keep track of than 8. So yeah, as you guys kind of head into town, sticking close to each other, Drake Mound is a very tiny, quiet village. So there's really not all that many people milling about quite yet. You see there's an elderly man off to the side with his grandson, and he does kind of cast an odd look in your direction, but otherwise doesn't really pay any mind to you guys. Otherwise, there's no one else around in this area of town.
Great. Okay, Tove is going to turn to Narcellis and Ari and say, all right, so we probably should get in here and get what we're going to get and then get out as quickly as we can without drawing too much attention to ourselves.
But you walk back inside, the item shop is still about as cluttered as ever. And you see the familiar face of the shopkeep standing behind the counter, the Moon Elf. And as you enter the shop, he immediately, without even looking, is like, "Oh, welcome in, welcome," and looks over, and immediately his smile kind of falls away into a frown as he says, "You again."
We were just wondering if we could peruse the items you have for sale and possibly purchase some from you. Just trying her hardest to, schmooze this guy up.
Alright, fine. What do you want?
Well, first off, before we start, you should probably stop dealing with drown from the glass mountains entirely.
Is there some reason you can give me?
Yes, because Imran Strider Venom did make it successfully into Valbard and killed someone very prominent. So, consider this me being kind and trying to keep you out of prison.
Alright. Fine. Fair enough. Yes.
Tove, didn't you have a list of things that we needed?
Oh, yeah. Okay, so, what potions do you have?
Not many. There's a potion shop on the other side of town.
Oh, that's true. I forgot about that.
If you're looking for, I don't know, general supplies, traveling.
Yeah, general supplies. Probably some ball bearings. What else does Taffy usually use?
First of all, you wouldn't happen to have any arrows and maybe a calligraphy pack, would you?
Good idea.
Yeah, that I do, I think, somewhere.
You wouldn't happen to know anyone in Drakemount that might be old as fuck?
None that I know of. I'm pretty sure I'm the only elf around here. The next oldest you might find is, kind of takes a moment to think about it. I think the guy's name is, Mayfair. He's the, smith just down there.
Great. I'll head over there. Anyway, how much exactly am I owing you now?
He kind of takes a minute to look over everything. And has to kind of think on it for a minute. Says, I don't know. Call it 2 gold.
For all of this?
Yeah, this stuff's pretty cheap.
Okay, and he'll just reach into his bag and pull out 2 gold and just sort of set it on the table, like, okay. This is weird.
Yeah. You guys will head out the door and head into town.
It's really quiet for this time of morning.
It's Drake Mound. It's not like there's thousands of people that live here.
Well, no, but there's people who live here and, do things and, little children who usually scamper around and cause mischief, and none of that is happening. It's a little odd.
Well, either way, we should probably just get the hell out of here.
Yeah,
Sorry about the detour. I have a question I need to ask. I forgot his name. I don't know his name.
Oh,
It was Mayfair, I think.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And he will make his way over toward the armor shop, especially considering the potion shop's that way anyway.
Mm-hmm.
He'll kind of narrow his eyes at first at Narcellus, kind of glance at Ari and Tove behind him as he says, yeah, it's me. Need something?
Yeah, the guy from the item shop actually sent me over here, which I know is either a great thing or a bad thing, considering on what side of his, or if whether you're on his good side or his bad side. This is gonna sound really weird. I actually came over here to ask about how long you've been Drake.
And at first, Mayfair seems rather confused. Probably definitely not expecting that kind of question. He sets down, some like half-made tools he had in his hands onto a table as he says, I don't know, it's been a while. He runs a hand over his face. I don't know, about 100 years or so.
Oh, God, you are old. Can you tell me anything about I don't know, the town that was here before Drake Mound? I mean, this town's about 300 years old, right?
Yeah. From what I know, it was established shortly after the First Dark War. He kind of like scratches the back of his neck. Town before it? You said like in the same location?
Same spot, yeah. Like the whole like tree, the mounds, where's your all that kind of stuff.
I mean, I've seen like the plaque they've got on the tree over there. Some place called like what, Brandon something. I don't know. No one. I remember when I like first came here. I was curious about it after reading the little memorial thing they had for it, and no one, even at the time, no one really seemed to say a lot about it. I don't know if it was just such an insignificant place, no one really cared.
Must have been, I guess. Said must have been, I guess.
Yeah, so I don't know. Supposedly, from what I understand, the whole place was wiped out in the Dark War by some Drow invasion, and apparently Drake Mound was basically built over top of it.
Hmm. Alright, that's all I had to ask. I do have another question for you, since you seem to be from around that time. I hope this isn't a personal question, but did you happen to fight in the war?
Yeah, I second one about 50 years ago. And he'll like lift a hand to kind of point at the burn scars over him. That from the mage I was fighting.
Hmm. Sorry to hear that. So he'll turn and kind of look at Ari like, I'm sorry. Turn and look back at this guy and be like, so Mayfair, what do you know about, Fulvin Karen, and maybe how he viewed the drow from Mithranve, Felicera during?
And as you mentioned Baldwin, he kind of looks again at Ari. Looks rather confused and a bit of concern on his brow. But he maybe just decides not to ask about it, as he'll instead answer your question with, oh, yeah, General Caraniel, well, at the time, Captain. I didn't fight in his unit, but from what I knew, the guy was vicious and ruthless, but was probably one of the best captains we had in the militia at the time.
Hmm.
He definitely had a lot of strong opinions about Drow. He kind of looks over Narcellus nervously, like, I'd rather not repeat some of it.
You won't offend me.
I don't know. The way he viewed him was kind of like someone viewing ants, I guess.
Showing his hands kind of curl and the little fists at his sides. He's just like, sounds about right. Out of curiosity, you guys don't seem to have a big drow population in Drake Mound.
No, they don't usually stay here, and those who try, usually Captain Vontus ends up running them out of town.
She'll also turn back to Nari and like, God, that's weird. Anyway. Tove, what is your cousin's name?
Nora. Her name's Nora.
Alright, and you're sure she'll be at the church?
Well, yeah, I mean, she's pretty devoted. I don't think she'd be anywhere else right now.
Alright, lead the way.
You see, there's maybe a couple more people over in this area who kind of give you all odd looks, especially Tove. You can almost feel eyes on you as you walk. And just as you're about to reach the steps of the church, you hear a familiar voice calling out, Tove, is that you?
Oh, Nora, and she'll turn towards the sound.
Not Nora.
Oh, not Nora. Who is it?
You're Shira.
Oh God.
Who seems to be approaching you from her house just behind the church.
Oh, Mayor Shira. Hello.
And as she approaches, you see the older woman has this look of like distress on her face, and you growing up here in Drake Mound, you're very familiar with Mayor Jira. You know she's, despite her older age, she always does her best to kind of look presentable and ensure that she's, a figure of respect. But she looks rather disheveled. Her clothes aren't quite straight. Her hair is in a bit of a messy bun at the moment. hurries over to you guys and says, "What, what are you doing here? What has happened?
Uh, there's a lot that has happened. We just stopped in to get some supplies, but I don't know what you've heard, but well, whatever you've heard, it's not true. Okay, we haven't done anything. I haven't done anything.
I'd like to believe that, too, but..." And her eyes will kind of glance over towards Narcellus. She'll say, "I've been worried about you ever since you left Drake Mound with rather questionable company."
Oh, I'm sorry, God.
And Tove's just kind of going to put a hand out, and she says, "Jira, you've known me since I was a child, right?
Of course.
And I've always done what is good in the eyes of Sophis, wouldn't you say?
Yes,
Been a model.
yes, you have.
Been a model citizen.
Of course.
You know,
Yes.
always helping out. Even in the aftermath of everything. I know you don't have any reason to trust me, but if you could look back on my character, you just have to trust that, well, I'm making some decisions that may seem a little bit questionable, but they're not. They're the right decisions."
Narcellus is going to step forward and he's going to pull down his hood so that she has to look at him in his entirety. And he's going to say, "You know, up until I came to this backwoods little town, I didn't have much opinion on humans at all, despite being half of one. So, let me just say this now. Other than Tove, who perhaps has shown more humanity than the entirety of your shitty little village all combined, you're all the same. Every single fucking one of you. You look at me and you say unquestionable company. Let me ask you something, Mayor Jira. How many of your veterans that fought in the Dark War, how many of them can you say with certainty fought honorably? How many of them are really worth the praise that you put them through? And how many of them slaughtered children that looked like me? Oh, but I guess you wouldn't consider them children at all, would you? You act like you're so pious, but the church that stands here states that everyone is a child of Sophis. That would mean my people included, who were born from a daughter of Sophis from Lolth, who you may think is some evil aberration. But the only one who has embraced us, the same way that the will of your God says that she ought to, is in fact the one that you were casting out. I don't wish for war, but if it does come, and Drake Mound burns to the ground, I won't weep for you, or any of the heroes.
Shira just sort of gathers up her skirt, looking a mixture of... God, how do I even describe it? A mixture of, defeated, hurt, and upset, and ashamed. And she'll just turn and quickly leave you guys.
Tove was just sort of standing there and just is having to let the reality that she cannot come back home sink in. Just turns her head towards him and just gives a shrug and says, we should get what we need to get before she comes back with any of the...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tove.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
No.
You don't have No, you don't have to be. You don't have to be sorry.
Tove, if I hadn't trusted
No,
someone
you
that I
can't. None of this is your fault. Okay, it's the actions of other people, the awful actions of other people. And she'll sort of like look between Narcellus and Ari as she's saying this. And
Just mostly looking at the ground.
and now we just have to live with the consequences of those actions. But it's okay. We will. We just need to get what we came into town for, and we need to get out of here.
Inside, it's rather empty and a little abandoned. Tove, for you, it's a very familiar sight. Um, with Drake Mound being the small town that it is, there are a lot of places in disrepair here in the church that definitely could use getting fixed or being replaced. But, the place is still standing and people still come in for their prayer and worship. And at this early of an hour in the morning, not many have arrived quite yet. But as you look down the rows of pews, you do see kind of towards the middle of the church. You see a familiar blonde head sitting at one of them with her head bowed.
And I think Tove would just sort of take the lead on this one and head up towards the familiar face, and she's going to. Oh, no. She's going to sit down.
And as you sit, kind of follow behind.
And oh, she's going to. She's really scared. She's going to look and say, well, I made it back from Valgard in one piece.
And as you sit down, she doesn't look up right away, probably assuming some other person is sat beside her. As you see now, sitting down and getting a good look at her, she has her eyes closed and her hands clasped together in her lap. And as you speak up, her head kind of shoots up instantly, and you see her eyes immediately are welling up with tears as she just, without a word, just pulls you into a hug there on the bench.
And Toph will just hug her back, and I think for the first time since everything has gone down, she is going to let herself cry. As she just hugs Nora. Nora is a safe space for her, and I think after a moment she's going to pull away, and kind of like wiping at her eyes, is going to say, how much have you heard?
And as you pull away, she kind of takes in a tiny breaths as she's like wiping at her face. And at your question, she'll say, "Oh, we received a messenger rather late in the day yesterday, and we were told that a party of adventurers or something was being accused of regicide, and I don't believe it. there's no way. As she like kind of grabs at Tove's hands, she's like, there's no way you were involved, right?
And Tove is just going to shake her head and say, I didn't have anything to do with the Queen's death. None of us had anything to do with the Queen's death, Nora. This is way over our heads. This is we're being framed. But everybody thinks, and Mayor Jira, I ran into her outside of the temple. There's not a way. I'm gonna have to go away for a while. Oh, you're good.
And at that, she's like, no, we can talk to Mayor Jira. I can maybe help explain.
No, it's you can't. There's no explaining this away. There's nothing we can do except, well, I have to leave, and you have to pretend you didn't see me and not mention me again. And if anybody comes to question anything, you don't know where I am, and you just you have to just I have to go. And it's for my safety, but also for yours.
And Nora just kind of gives a very tiny nod of her head as she sniffs, trying to hold herself back from continuing her crying. And she says, all right, okay, I'm sorry this happened, Tove. I know you were so looking forward to going to the city again, and I feel awful. This is how it ended.
And Tove will just nod and say, well, there's not much we can do about it now, but just believe that there is some sort of, and I think she's saying this more for Nora than she is for herself at this point. But she says, we have to believe that there is some sort of divine working here, and that Sophus will set all of this right.
Yes, I will. I'll pray for you guys every day, and I won't tell anyone about seeing you or anything.
Okay. And Tove will, like already kind of holding her hands, will squeeze them and say, I will send you word if I can, but I don't know if that would be the best. So, just, no, just, take care of yourself, all right?
You too. I don't know where you're going, but please just stay safe.
Of course. And, she'll just, like, reach out to hug Nora again one last time.
She'll give her a big hug, big squeeze hug.
And then Toph will stand up and, she'll walk back towards the others.
If you want to say that I made you do it so that you can stay here. If you want, you should.
And, sort of at, like, that statement, I think Toph is going to look a little bit taken aback. And she'll shake her head and she'll say, no, you didn't make me do anything.
I know I didn't, but this is the last person you have in your family cares about them, right?
And Tove will nod. But she'll also say, yeah, Nora is the last person I have left. But, she's not my only family anymore.
You can just say that I forced you into. They're going to say that I did it anyway, and
No,
probably
Narshell is. I'm not going to do that. Okay, I'm not going to abandon you.
It's.
Listen, I made my choice when I left Drakemount. And I'm not going to back down just because I get to live in, the town I grew up in. I'm not going to betray you like that just so I don't have to run. I'm going with you and Ari and everyone else. What happened wasn't right. None of this is good, but you don't deserve to have to deal with this.
Speak up a little more. I'm sorry, it's hard to hear you.
He says, fine. Just don't. Dove, I just don't want you to do something that you're going to regret.
The only thing I would regret would be staying here.
Okay, then. If you're both going to trust me, then we need to start heading for Darkwood as soon as possible with everyone, but you're not gonna like what's in it. Ari, you probably already know.
Fortunately, I do, yes.
Dove, you're not afraid of spiders, are you?
It depends on the spider.
What about 6 foot tall spider people?
Well, I haven't really thought that much about that, so I guess we'll just cross that bridge when we get to it.
Fair enough. Is there anything else that you need to do while we're here, or can we get the hell out?
I think we should go.
So yeah, this is, of course, following our most recent session where the party escaped Valgard after being accused of regicide, and once they finally managed to get in a small short rest after running through most of the night, they are now sort of splitting off to do their own thing. A few have gone to Drakemount to take care of business, while others just have something needed so they can make their way to Darkwood. So Tappy,
yes,
has decided he would like to go into town to investigate into what they had left behind. Specifically what you had left behind with Gwen.
Yeah, Gwen being the Padlock Guild contact in the area.
Make your way into town, kind of sticking along the trees and the edge of the cliffs between some of the buildings, and no one pays you any mind as you head on over to Gwen's house, just on the outskirts of town.
And he kind of positions himself so he can like hold the door shut, and then he kind of like knocks very quickly on the door, loud enough that like whoever's inside hopefully can hear it, but not so loud that it's just like someone's just slamming the door down,
Right.
like that someone nearby could hear.
Okay. So yeah, you knock at the door, and there's a long pause where at first you're not sure if you're going to hear anything, or you're starting to wonder, oh man, is Gwen asleep? But just then you kind of hear a soft voice from the other side of the door saying, "Who is it?"
Gwen, don't open the door. It's Taffy. Are you okay?
Yeah, totally fine. Sorry, just woke up.
Okay. And so he kind of thinks through, he's kind of shifting around a little bit. Okay. Do you know what's going on?
Yeah, word has gotten here already. You're just lucky you just missed Captain Vontus leaving the whole battalion to the Damavon range.
Dang. All right. So okay. So the captain's gone. At least he took his battalion with him. Did they harass you at all? Did they ask you any questions?
Nah, I've been laying low, thankfully.
Okay. He kind of breathes a sigh of relief. And then he asks, okay, what have they been telling you?
Well, a messenger came into town from Valgard, just pretty late yesterday, and apparently you've gone for regicide.
Yeah, heard that one before. That's not how it went down. We're in a much bigger game than I had originally thought we were. Turns out it's not just Starkin and the Crows anymore. Yeah, is your house clear? Can I come inside? He's looking around.
Yeah. Hold on. And you'll hear like a couple of locks, quite a few locks probably unlock themselves before he will open the door very slowly to allow Taffy inside.
Okay, so he quickly slips inside, shuts the door, and then like that would help Gwen just relock the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, okay, all right. So, Captain Faldvin, right? Elf dude, general. You heard of him?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, well, he's we're pretty certain well, I know there's couple things that don't line up, but I'm fairly right now he seems to have set us up for murder of the queen.
Oh.
Yeah.
Really, the general of all people?
Like Taffy kind of moves over to the windows and makes sure the curtains are drawn and like peeks out every now and again. He's full on paranoid mode. I was like, yeah, it's hard to believe too, but you remember Nars, right? I don't know if you've seen him around. Little drow fella. Been hanging out with him.
Yeah, the half drow, right?
Yeah. Well, just seeing what he's been through and what I heard from him, and I believe it. We were chased out of town. He Tav is as he's describing this whole situation, he's getting a little more like raspy of breath. He's panting a little bit more. like he as he's explaining it, it's just now starting to like set in. Like he was in survival mode, and now that he's had a chance to like explain what's going on, like more of like it's more like he's explaining it to himself. Like, yes, this is happening, and you need to come to terms with it.
Oh, I was gonna say, just at that moment, Taffy, as the two of you are talking, there's a very soft knocking at the door.
Shit. So Taffy looks panics around. Is like, you have a safe room? You have anywhere I can hide?
Come this way, and he'll motion Taffy over towards the back of his little like one-room house where he's got a couple of paintings leaning up against the wall that he'll quickly pull to the side, revealing a hidden door within the wood. And pulling it open, he'll say, "Follow this. It's a little tunnel leads out to the tavern on the other side of town."
Okay, thanks. The I guess real quick, if you have any information, try using tracking pigeons or anything like that. We're headed up north. Don't tell nobody, all right?
Yeah, of course. Will do.
He turns to go down the tunnel, and he just he pauses for a moment, and he slowly shifts kind of back around, being as quiet as he can. He's still trying to sort of position himself so that if he needs to bolt down the tunnel, he can. But he kind of tries to listen in on who's about to enter into the house, at least to see if he can like figure out who might be coming in.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm just gonna move your token over here. So you stop, you listen, and you hear the door open. As you, thankfully, you can hear the voices fairly easily due to the rather thin door and paintings leaning up against it, not offering much in the way of like a sound buffer, and your sensitive tabaxi ears able to pick up more sounds than most.
Oh.
And as Gwen allows this visitor inside, you'll hear a voice say, "So, any news yet from the capital?" "Oh, yeah, apparently, funny enough, the queen dying was the work of General Carandial." That's what you hear Gwen say to this other person.
Can I do I recognize the voice of the other person?
Yes, you do.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, you recognize this. It's a voice you haven't heard in a while. It was only perhaps very briefly upon your first trip to Valgard.
Oh no.
Sturkin.
Oh! Oh no! Not great, man. Taffy he is bristled up. He's like, the heck is Sturkin doing? What? So he's frozen. He is frozen in place, but he's listening.
And you'll hear Gwen say, "Have a seat for a minute. I've got plenty to catch up on." And you hear like chairs squeaking against the wooden floor as the two guys sit. And Sturkin will say, "How did he manage that? I left the venom that Drow gave us with those members that were helping me out." And Gwen will reply, "Oh, no clue, to be honest. Didn't get to ask about that much, but I landed in the lap of Carandial, and he took care of the queen himself." Kind of shocked, but shame that Duke won't get to go through with his plan, And with that, Sturkin will say, "Yeah, well, with him in jail, it's not as if it'll do him a whole lot of good anyways. Shame I just didn't get the last payment. Rather annoying, in fact." all the damn trouble I had to go through. And hold on, give me 1 second. I have to ask my lore keeper a question.
The lore master. I'm trying to figure out whether Taffy could take Sturkin in a fight. I don't know if he should start shit in the house.
Yeah. Oh, jeez. Yeah. But to that, Gwen will say, well, I mean, you did tell me at one point you wanted to pack up a drow, didn't you? To which Sturkin replies, I did. After my family was killed in that attack on Drake Mound, it's the only reason I agreed to work with the Duke in the first place. But Peraniel doing it, he'll start a war far grander than the Duke could ever hope to achieve. The two kind of like share a short chuckle at that as you hear glasses kind of clinking together as drinks are apparently poured. They're just having this rather casual conversation. Gwen, apparently rather confident Taffy had just gone on ahead.
So
yeah.
Taffy's got like one of his paws on his rapier, like he was about ready to just jump out of the painting and stab this guy. But as he hears the conversation go on, he hears he's like trying to rationalize in his head, like, no, this is Gwen's got, like, Gwen pulled him in to get information out of him, or like he's setting him up, or he's doing. But as the conversation just gets more and more casual, like it starts to become clear that just Gwen is working with Starkett. Like I don't know, like he doesn't know how involved Gwen is, but
mm-hmm.
Oh man, he doesn't know. He doesn't know, and this is bad. He don't like not knowing. All right, I don't like not knowing. Jesus. All right.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm shocked people believe all that. You would think they do a little better research, but people will eat up whatever the nobles tell them. The two laugh at that together, and at that point, it kind of drifts off in a more casual conversation of like two friends kind of catching up with each other, like celebrating this apparent victory that they have achieved.
Oh, I want to murder this little shithead. All right, I want to murder both of them. What's in my bag? I don't think I got anything. Oh, I should have spiked this.
Put together a bomb. That's fine.
Yeah. Listen, I have a matchbook and a whole other vial of oil. I could set his house on fire.
You would? That is always an option. Fire is always an option.
But it would probably burn the other houses down and. Oh! It's like right there. Oh, I can't do anything without causing problems. Taffy, his eyes are just wide right now. Like the pupils are like cat eyes, and he's just staring at the back of the painting, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he starts to slowly unsheath his rapier, and he stops about halfway, and he's just thinking, and he slowly sheathes it back, and shakily, as best he can, he pulls out, and as quietly as he can, he takes out his charcoal and he writes a note on a piece of paper, and he just says, "Changed mind. We're going to run south. We're going to try the mountain pass." And it's a little difficult. It's a little dark, so there might be a little misspellings, and he's shaking, so it's a little shaky. But he carefully removes the piece of paper from his little notebook, and he folds it up, and he kind of leaves it right next to the painting. And then he carefully starts making his way down the tunnel to leave. and he will go and escape towards the tavern. Okay, he's got a disguise kit, so he's gonna take out his disguise kit, and basically sort of put some markings on his face, sort of change up the marking pattern of his face fur, kind of change up his hairstyle a little bit, make sure his hood and his mask are down, pack away his disguise kit, and then go and grab. Let's see here. He'll grab a bottle of wine. If there's no wine, then probably a bottle of beer.
Okay. Yeah, no, you managed to find a bottle of wine. It's not a problem.
Okay. And then he will kind of go upstairs, and he'll sort of act like he's a little drunk. So kind of stumbly a little bit, but like he went down there to go get some alcohol or something. Like he belongs. He's trying to fit in. Or if you want me, a performance. Oh. Ugh.
15. Not bad. So yeah, you come out of the cellar looking like you are, had a rough night, deep in your cups. And as you come out of the cellar into the main floor of the tavern, you'll see there really the only people in here is the barkeep behind the bar at the moment, and like one other person sitting at a table who seems to be kind of just keeping to themselves, and neither of them really pay you any mind as you make your way.
So Taffy, as he stumbles out the door, the second he's out the door, he's forgotten that he has like a bottle of whatever in his hand. So the second he's out the door, he kind of rounds the corner. He's like backpedaling as he's backing up, and then he backs up into Nars and he spins around. He's just kind of in a daze at the moment. So he kind of bumps into Nars and then just spins around and just looks at who he just ran into for a second.
Narcelus will kind of lurch forward. He's holding a clean, covered, but like very well kept, semi-thick book between his hands, and just turns kind of alarmed that he might be being attacked right now.
Yeah.
And, turns and just glares over his shoulder, over his hood, and you just hear, "Can we help you?"
Taffy realizes like, oh, it's not, and then he realizes, oh wait, I'm like in disguise. Though Taffy doesn't really say, because he's sort of shaken, like the bottle in his hands is like vibrating. His free hand is shaking a little bit. He doesn't really know how to respond. He sees his eyes are wide. He's got the cat eyes, and he sees Nars, and he immediately just sort of is relieved, but he's still just like in this terrified state. But he doesn't say anything. He just kind of stares at Nars, trying to come back to his senses.
Yeah, so as you look at this tabaxi before you, there are a few, like, very familiar traits between, like, his bright blue eyes, the color of his fur, and his, like, brown, fluffy hair on the top of his head. You could have swore you've seen someone just like him before. This wasn't that tabaxi.
Leans forward and said, "Can I help you?"
So after that second, "Can I help you?" Taffy basically like sort of a start. He starts. He gets jolts a little bit, and he closes his eyes and he shakes his head, and he opens his eyes back up. Getting a grip of himself, and he's like, it's and he's like whispering, Nars, it's me, it's Taffy. As he like looks back over his shoulder.
"Are you wasted?"
What? And he like realize. Then he remembers. Oh, he has a bottle of something in his hand. Like, oh no, 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 no. And he like throws the bottle down. That was a disguise. The what do you are you you what are you were here to get supplies, right?
Earlier, yeah. Right now, I'm just trying to make sense of something. What is going on with you? Why do you look like that?
I was checking in. I was the Padlock Guild has a
Grab Taffy by his upper arm, by his bicep, just shake him. 10 feet.
mm,
What are you talking about?
he opens his mouth like he's trying really hard to say something that he really doesn't want to say, and eventually he takes a deep raspy breath, and he just finally blurts out, we cannot trust the Padlock Guild.
Oh, Taffy, are you sure you're not wasted? And she's kind of looking between him and the bottle, and still like fumbling with the book in his hands. Like, you know what you're saying, right?
Yeah. We can't trust them. It's like there was that I had a contact here. I don't remember if I mentioned him. Gwen, you know Gwen, right?
No.
Okay. He was he's working with Sturkin, and when he says that, his claws dig into the tree, and he just leaves some claw marks.
She just sort of moves back on the balls of his feet, pitches forward and back. Of course it is. Of course it is. You know, at this rate, why don't we line up the entire population of Layrat and see who wants to stab us in the back? You know, you and I have already got it done. Why doesn't Ivari take a turn? You know, Tove got exiled. Tove got exiled.
And Taffy side glances at Nars, and with his, he's got these wide cat eyes, and then he doesn't say, he like opens his mouth, he doesn't say anything, and he closes it back, and he just then rests his forehead against his arm that's on the tree. These people were supposed to be our family.
Yeah.
This guild was supposed to be my family.
Look, Taffy. Look,
What if Sam...
Hey, you know, Ari turned out to be genuine, so I'm sure, not every padlock lock person is, bad.
We were supposed to be better than thieves.
Taffy, buddy, I don't know a whole lot about your guild, and I understand that I gave this really awful display of emotion earlier, and I'm actually really bad at that. And I don't know what you need right now, and I'm sure that I believe you. I believe that Gwen is a terrible person who's working with Sturkin. But for right now, that's kind of what we know. Kind of like how we know that General Faldvin is, a cunt. So anyway, I'm just saying. I'm sure Sam is fine. I'm sure she doesn't know anything about this, okay?
He sits there, and it's like, you can tell that he's listening because his ears are twitching, but he's just staring like dead at the roots of this tree, just like straight down. what if the whole guild? What if my dad had anything to do with this?
You're spiraling. He just reaches out and just grabs on to his shoulder. Just kind of like presses his thumb in. Said, Taffy, we need to get to the Underdark. We need to get you up, Taffy.
He's just shaking. I could have gotten them both right there.
Taffy. And he will like grab him, like reach up and just like put his hands over, like cupping his ears to like get his attention and be as annoying as possible, just like moving them back and forth. He's like, Taffy. Can you hear me? Eatable to Taffy.
he's got like the little squished face when you grab his cheeks, and he just kind of like squishy kitty face. And he just looking at you, and he just kind of slowly nods. That snapped him out of it. Like no one's really grabbed his face like that, so that just pulled him right out of.
Okay, Taffy, just slowly let's go. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. If I hadn't decided for some stupid fucking reason in Eastoff that I was gonna attach myself to a mass murderer, then, this wouldn't be happening. So I apologize. I have cost Tove her family. I have cost you your family. I don't know, like, I cost Yulia her baker friends. I probably got Fallon and his kids killed. So, if you're gonna hate me, you can just do it now, and we can get it over with, and then we can go and get everyone the hell out of here.
So Taffy, he's a little quivery, and he takes a raspy breath. He's like, no. This was happening long before I even met you. They must have been planned. They were in cahoots with Starkin with the whole Duke plan. This wasn't your fault. But you're right. I need to keep it together. I left them alive. I'm gonna use Gwen as a misinformant. I'll send him faulty information. Try to keep him off our back. He's like rubbing his forehead with one of his shaky paws.
I might know someone who can help.
He kind of like nervous chuckles, like he's trying to, like he's laughing because otherwise he'd be crying. And he's like, really, this is you guys. Had you not been here, I could have been complicit in all of this. I could have been used.
But you weren't. So.
Right. I'll deal with them later.
We'll all deal with them later. No one is saying that we expect you to do this by yourself.
he kind of chuckles side and is like, well, sorry I ended up getting in with a guild full of royal murderers.
I mean,
dragging you all into it.
I don't really have much room to talk, do
and he's like nervous chuckling as he's glancing. You can see him kind of like rub a tear out of his eye before with one of his paws. He's like, right. Did you guys get everything you need? Do you need anything?
Yeah, I'm just Tove had to leave the town right before I left. I just wanted to check something. I took this book from the Perennial Estate before we even went to the castle. Because something's been bothering me ever since I came to Valgard.
What is it?
What's it?
What's been bothering you?
Sorry, I just had to ask. Sorry, on something. You see that placard on the tree right there?
He looks over, looks at the placard that Nars is pointing at. So, yeah? What about it? Squints at it.
Tell me what's on it.
What does it read?
So the placard on the tree, it's probably fairly old and rusty at this point. But you can still make out the words. It says, in honor of the Battle of Granton and those that fell at the hands of the Drow, who burned her to the ground. And at the bottom, it's labeled as First Dark War, King Yorzir
It's like, yeah, it's a war memorandum.
Yeah, it's just. You'll open the book. Am I allowed to show Taffy what we discussed was in the book that I got?
Yeah.
So lean over to Taffy, sort of. You see him going through pages. He reaches up and licks his fingers and is like looking for a very specific. For a very specific, page, and when he finally comes to it, it'll be a list of like soldiers' names, things like that, like different known casualties, as well as like a description of what took place. And he'll say, according to this, Granton was the first randomized attack committed by the Drow of Mithranve, and it supposedly stood 300 years ago, where Drake Mountain is. It says it was a sizable village, lots of stone buildings. They were rather proficient in blacksmithing and farming, and apparently just destroyed by Drow coming over the Domovan Range. It's just, I'm not going to talk to Tove about this because I know she will freak out on me for even suggesting it. But there's just something that's not, it's not vibing with me, man.
You know,
I mean, yeah.
Something else doesn't seem to, sit quite right with me that I've been thinking about on our trip all the way over here. He rubs his forehead. The captain, he had us dead to rights. Everyone here has already heard about our plot, like very detailed information. This, if he planned this all and set it all up, we should have walked out of that tavern into a platoon of guards. But we didn't. We escaped. I don't know. It's the only piece that doesn't fit to me.
I'm not about to question what there. I know what I saw, and he refused to explain himself.
So that means we're probably pawns in a much larger game.
Probably. Let me just ask you something.
Okay.
Why would Drow climb over a bunch of mountains when you can go underground? Why wouldn't they come from Thylacera, which is much closer? Why would a stone village have no ruins? Where is the mass grave?
He kind of looks around and is like, oh, that is a good point. Now that I don't really know a lot about military tactics or admittedly the Drow, BF, if if they live underground, you'd think they'd attack from underground.
There is Darkwood was still our territory back then. It was called Revolvin. So why would they spend the energy coming over an entire mountain range when Revolvin, which has its own fortress, was right there?
Huh. Well, I mean, we're headed that direction anyway, right?
Yes.
You think we could stop by the old? I assume the fortress is in ruins now.
Yes. To my knowledge, at least.
If you want, we don't have to. But if you're curious, we could make a stop there and see if we could get any more information to answer your question.
Taffy, we don't have that kind of time. I gotta get you guys underground yesterday.
That's fair.
It is the only place that Fulton can't send any of his cards.
That's true. And I don't know the extent of my guild, ex-guild, how much they're feeding anyone anything. So I can't really rely on misdirection a whole lot.
Yeah.
Well, maybe. And he's like, he's pondering now. He's got the ponder stance.
Right now, it's more important to get everyone's safety than to go chasing history, I guess.
All right. Well, that's fair. If,
there is one other thing that's grinding me, I guess.
Okay.
So the Duke is no longer a prospect to be king, and I have a feeling that Princess will be taking the throne anytime soon. So.
Wait, yeah. Who?
Sorry, hold on. I gotta say that again. Apparently, I didn't come in.
Oh, gotcha.
One thing that's bothering me is that the Duke was taken care of, and the princess, I have a feeling, won't be taking the throne anytime soon. She's no, anyway. So, who is
next in line?
I mean, maybe the only time that this happens is when, a matron mother is dethroned in the Underdark. Usually it's a military takeover, and at that point, the next matron mother usually comes from a lineage that is very well respected militarily and, especially theocratically. So, I guess you could say that someone from House Bonry, super strong, decided to kill my mother. After I thank them, they would become patron mother. It's kind of like a military position.
So,
not that it's the same thing here. I don't know how the surface goes under kings work, so to speak, but you don't happen to know who's next in line, do you?
Well, if I remember correctly, and perhaps I'm wrong, I thought they had at least a couple of sons. I don't know if they're old enough to rule.
I remember Tove saying something about it, and he has 2 young sons and a daughter.
Okay. So it would probably go to one of them, but they would probably, until they're of age, I would assume they'd have some kind of advisor, ring of advisors.
Yeah.
Calling the shots, as it were, until, one of them is able to take the throw, whoever the eldest is.
Would you mind coming with me for a minute?
Sure, yeah.
I just, if we're gonna be fighting against something and trying to clear our reputation, we might as well know who's accusing us,
That's a good idea. That's fair. He's kind of like, he's still quivering a little bit. He's trying to shake off he's still clearly stunned. but he's 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 talking like he normally sort of does. He's it's still a little raspy, still a little shaky, but he sort of combs his hair back and kind of pats his hair back down, his fur back down.
Is there anyone around that they can talk to that won't eat their faces off?
You kind of take a look around the town, and really the only person you see with an eyesight is oh god, what was his name?
The dog.
Yeah.
Yep.
Is you see there is the armor shop across the way where you had spoken with Mayfier a little while earlier.
Yeah, he's normal. He's normal. He's fine. So Narcellis will kind of, remembering that Taffy is, having a freak out, will grab him by the arm and sort of lead him over toward the armor shop.
Oh boy. He is paranoidly like just jolting left and right, like looking all over the place as he steps out into the open. He's having a little panic right now, but he's okay. He follows. He might be a little resistant, but he does sort of follow, sort of like on an autopilot.
As for Mayfier himself, as you guys are approaching the armor shop, he's much the same as where you had left him earlier, Narcellis, after you, Tove, and Norian had come to speak with him. You see he's got his tools lined up, and it looks like he's just kind of stoking the forge to get it as hot as he needs it to be. And as you approach, he kind of glances up, this time perhaps hearing someone's coming as he looks over in your direction, and seeing Narcellis, he narrows his eyes suspiciously.
Uh-oh.
Oh, you're not coming through on Discord.
He raises his hand. He's like, I just have a question, and then I'm gonna leave.
Like I told you, you need.
Okay,
What's the question?
Taffy, why don't you ask?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Just Taffy, why don't you ask?
Right. What am I asking? He's a little distracted as he's glancing.
With everything going on, you guys haven't been made aware of, what's going on with the current lineage regarding regicide and who's taking power.
He rubs at the back of his neck. I mean, it's supposed to be the princess, Yelkish, I guess. She's the eldest of the royal family, but
Let's say theoretically that's not possible. Who would be next in line?
Well, I was about to say that's what I've heard, is she's vanished.
You don't say.
I guess after that would be, I don't remember her younger brother's names. Only 8 years old though, so I imagine he'll need attendance about him. Otherwise, there's no other Yorsia family that would take over the throne with the Duke house arrest. So, if it does not go to the princess or the prince, none of the nobles really have a claim for it. So, the only other. Go ahead.
Okay, you're like stalling, telling me what's going on, and I can hear it. So just please tell me it's not like some religious nut.
It's only a rumor. I don't know if it's true, but they say apparently General Cranial is looking to take the throne for himself.
Snaps his gaze right over to the guy.
To what?
Snaps his gaze right onto this guy.
Oh, yeah. Mhm.
Nothing. I'm gonna snap.
I'm gonna snap first.
Taffy, I don't know how much more this thing could take. Thanks, Forge guy.
Yeah, no problem.
Is that bottle real? Does it have something in it?
I have no idea. I was using it as a prop. Knock yourself out.
Just opens it. Just what's in it?
So as you look at the bottle, yeah, Mayfair kind of goes back to what he's doing. You look at the bottle briefly, and you read it's a rose tin vintage from maybe around like 30 or 40 years ago. You've known nothing about wine, but from the looks of it, it's a very nice, like, dark red wine.
He will knock it back, and upon him tasting it, will immediately make the most horrified expression possible, reel back from it, think about it, and then go back to drinking it. And takes another like long gulp of it, just like, what's this stuff?
Taffy will take the bottle if he can.
Go ahead.
And then sniff at it. It's like, I think this is wine. And then he like tastes it, makes the exact same face. Yeah, oh, that's wine. And then he takes another swig of it.
Just like, I'll tell you what. Let's go find the party. Let's not tell them this information yet. And I would like to go to sleep.
You know what? I'm right there with you. I should. And then, like, as he's walking back, he basically is like just chastising himself for like should have followed up on Stark and should have followed up on the Crow. Should have checked the captain's house. I was right there.
Your shells can't do this anymore.
He doesn't really go on for too long. He just kind of grumbles to himself.
Just like listening and nodding, and just sort of. He looks tense, and he'll turn and he'll look at Taffy for her. So he's like, Taffy, can I ask you something? It's kind of important.
Sure.
You don't have any brothers or sisters, right?
And he actually stops for a second. As far as I know, I don't. I don't really have a lot of memories from when I was a child.
Okay, is there anyone? All right, you told me that you have a dad, which I know. I'm poking a bear here, but just bear with me. And this is just a completely hypothetical question. I need to ask it, just so I know where you stand on some things, you know. So, if and he'll pause. He stopped walking and he's like looking between Taffy, kind of the rest of the scenery, and he'll say, "If something bad was going to happen to your dad, like earth-shatteringly bad, like he could possibly die, and you could do something that would save him, but might hurt other people, would you do it?"
At the second, the second you mentioned like if you could save your dad, he also gets really tense, and he answers I failed to do so once.
Mhm.
I'm gonna live in the hope of ignorance and just pray that my current father isn't involved. So to answer your question, I think I might. I think I would. I probably would. Because I can mend broken bones, I can fix bleed wounds, I can apologize, I can ask for forgiveness, and maybe I don't get it, maybe I don't deserve it. But I don't know if I could let my family die.
Okay. That helps. Okay. Let's go rejoin the others.
Right.
And as Taffy and you walk along, his face will get suddenly very still and very serious, but he doesn't say anything else.
Taffy doesn't say anything else either. His mind is racing at the moment.
Sorry.
Sorry, Kayla is asleep.
I'm not.
You are, don't mind.
Sorry, just give me where were you guys doing?
Heading back
We're
to the
leaving.
Just leaving. Okay. Fair enough. Fantastic. Yeah, you guys head on out of town, thankfully with very little issue. Seems it's a nice thing most of the militia is gone as there's no one here to really stop you. In the early morning kept most everyone else still at home or in bed, most likely. So leave town together and head back to join the rest of your party.
Yep.
Good job! Yay!
Good job! Yay! Yay!
How's Taffy doing?
Well, he thought he was going to get kicked out of the guild. Instead, he kicked himself out of the guild.
Yeah, that is kind
That
of what it
was
seems.
he was not ready for this family he thought he had to go work in a conspiracy to murder the king and queen, and then let him and his party take the fall for it. That's what hurt the most. He was just used.